We've got to talk about bile and the role it plays in anemia and energy and the importance of good bile function and the connection between bile and low energy. A lot of times we look at B12. It's great. It's great. We need B12. It's a good thing. But are we talking enough about the connection between our energy, our liver function, our bile function, and anemia? So let's step it backwards a little bit. In that, my name's Kristen. Let me introduce myself to those of you who are new. My name is Kristen. I'm a magnesium advocate. My goal is simple yet bold: ending magnesium deficiency within the next 5 years, 2030. Ending magnesium deficiency within the next 5 years. And that has been my goal for the last 25 years. And magnesium plays a role with your bile. It's what starts the process of movement for your bile. And so let's never forget the foundational piece of soaking in magnesium. Bile needs more than just magnesium, though. And my specific agenda for today is that you leave this live making some connection between your bile function, your low energy, your brain fog, things like that that are going on. So let's back up and talk about bile and iron. If your bile gets thick and sluggish, then that can be an indicator that anemia is going to kick in. Because remember, I'm not a doctor, not diagnosing. Anemia is not a diagnosis. It's a symptom of something deeper in your body. And there's several roles and pathways. It's not that anemia for one person is not anemia for another person. And right in there can be a little bit of overwhelm. Healthy women, we're taking the overwhelm and taking action. And today I would love to know what your action piece is. Are you soaking in magnesium in August? Because August is the most efficient time to get your magnesium levels up. We've got sunshine, we're getting our levels up. So when they naturally drop in the winter, it doesn't crash us. When we're talking anemia and bile, if your bile is too thick, then you're not absorbing your iron. So you can have all the iron sitting there, but your body's not absorbing it, which causes another problem. In that, if your body has iron just sitting there, parasites love to feed off that. It makes for fatigue, brain fog, achy muscles, arthritis, depression, ADHD, dementia, Alzheimer's. All of those things are aggravated by iron just sitting there. Leaky gut, gut dysbiosis, autoimmune. None of those benefit from iron just sitting in your body. It's one of the reasons why I'm a daily acerola cherry powder. Now, let's talk about vitamin C, though. It's got to have a strong copper core. And that's how it's grown and how it's processed. And that's why sometimes I run out of this for, I think the last time it was like 3.5 years, maybe. I couldn't find one that met the standard. I'm not just taking vitamin C just to cross it off the list. I'm taking vitamin C to help my body move out stored iron. And when it has a strong copper core, when it's been grown properly, when it's been processed slowly, and when it hasn't had all of these non-food additives added to it, and it maintains that strong copper core, it's moving the stored iron in your body that causes problems. When your bile is thick, we're not uptaking the iron that you have. So let's talk about thick iron. Number one reason, or thick iron. Oh my gosh, not thick iron. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about thick bile. Thick bile. If you've got thick bile, the first thing, because remember, we focus on foundations here. And I'd love to know, have you ever been diagnosed with anemia? Do you focus on your acerola to move stored iron through your body? Do you take an iron supplement? I use desiccated liver, which is a whole food form. But if you've got stored iron, that's not going to you're not going to feel good even taking a whole food form. Share with me what your focus is when it comes to bile function, gallbladder function, anemia. Where are you at? I'd love to know. Hello, Ruth. Okay, so when we've got that stored iron, taking a good vitamin C with a strong copper core is foundational. We've got to thin that bile out if it's thick. If you've got sluggish energy, chances are your bile could be thick. It doesn't matter what supplement you take. It doesn't matter what you do. If you are not properly hydrated, none of it's going to give you full benefit. So we have to start with the basics. I think of it like holding on to, oh my gosh, Nicole, you just made my day. Thank you. I so appreciate knowing that it's helpful, and it helps me tap into a different part of my brain, knowing like, oh, because in the class when I'm teaching, I can see people's faces. This is like teaching to this little round hole that I don't know if it's helping or not. So thank you. Warm lemon water. And this is where I make some people really upset, but I'm not talking lemon water from essential oil because it's missing the enzymes. Once it's been processed into that essential oil, the essential oils are great and have benefit, but if we're taking lemon water in the morning, it's to help relax the sphincter of the gallbladder and open up that doorway into the liver for better flow to happen. And that can only come from a fresh lemon. Now, I grew up and my mom always had a little plastic lemon full of lemon juice in the fridge, even though we had lemon trees in the backyard. It's just, I guess, what you did at the time. That lemon juice and the little plastic looking lemon is not going to give you that benefit. We're talking fresh lemon juice in your water will help open that door. I love, Ruth, that you're doing those things to increase the flow. Some people need more. I need more than that. I tend to run toward thick bile. And so one of the things that I do that is my superfood after focusing on hydration, after making sure that my voltage is strong, because you can't have proper hydration without strong voltage of magnesium, salt, and potassium. Some of my best foods are grapefruits. I grew up eating grapefruit. I love grapefruit. Most of the people in my family do not care for it. We had a grapefruit tree in the backyard where I lived in California with my parents, and we'd go out and pick the grapefruit. My mom would cut them so that we could have them for breakfast. I love grapefruit. Well, one of the reasons I love it so much is grapefruit naturally thins your bile. And when you want high energy, when you want to tap into all of your energy stores, you want thin bile, because thin bile is uptaking nutrients. And if you've got thick bile, then you're not uptaking nutrients to give your body the energy that it needs. Magnesium starts the process of connecting that bile, but if it's thick and sluggish, it doesn't matter how much magnesium you soak in, you're not going to get the full benefit. So magnesium is the first step, but most of us need more to focus on bile. One of the things I want to make sure that I focused on today is people with a gallbladder and without a gallbladder. If you do not have a gallbladder, I am begging you to look into ox bile, please, because you do not have the ability to store your bile anymore. It's gone, which naturally leans toward thick, sluggish bile. People that have had their gallbladders taken out, it's like an 8,000 and something % increase in anemia, because you might have the iron there, but you're not uptaking it because of that thick, sluggish bile. We don't want our bile to be like peanut butter. We want it to be thin, like olive oil, so it can go around and do what it needs to do. And if you don't have a gallbladder, ox bile simply must be replaced at each meal. And when you buy that ox bile to help support your body because you don't have a gallbladder, because you don't want to go into anemia from thick bile, we want to look at the dosage. Our body is so incredible that the first bite of food that we eat determines our bile function and our enzyme function. And our body will match what we're putting in our mouth. Well, if you don't have that, you've got to learn how to figure that out. So ox bile is one you really have to build a relationship with. If you've eaten a steak, you need more ox bile. And so if you purchased an ox bile that's 500 milligrams, that might work for a steak, but it won't work for that salad. And so I like buying a 500 milligram. I see people being the most successful because I have a gallbladder. That's why we're going to talk about that also. People without a gallbladder are most successful when they have a 500 milligram and when they have a 100 milligram, because then they can play with what works best for them. People without gallbladders have lower energy and a higher risk for anemia because of lower quality bile function. Ox bile needs to be in your purse, needs to be in your car, needs to be in your kitchen, needs to be in your desk at the office if you go there. Needs to be everywhere, so that every time you eat, you are offsetting what your body used to do naturally. And yes, you do it for the rest of your life. Begging you to look into that if you don't have bile function, because you are just asking for problems down the road. And it might not happen the first year, might not happen the third year, but I promise if you are not taking ox bile to thin naturally the secretions of your bile function, eventually you will go into problems from that gallbladder being taken. And some people do it quickly, some people do it long term, but let's make sure to get the word out. If you don't have a gallbladder, you've got to step in and support, and ox bile is a great way to do that. I'm not telling you what to do though. I'm telling you, look into that. Look into it. Now, let's talk about, oh my gosh, Kai can't share. I will have Shelly look into that. Kai, thank you so much for sharing that with me, because I will absolutely look into that. I want to talk about another tool today that is two. I want to talk about two supplements. And remember, supplements are supplemental to your foundation. Your foundation is enough magnesium to keep your bile moving, hydration to keep your bile thinner, and then some people need more. I do, for optimal bile function. And remember, if you get stored iron, you are asking to just feed parasites in your body. You are just feeding them. They're munching on stored iron. Your brain won't function as well. ADHD, joint pain, gut issues are all increased because of stored iron. And thin moving bile helps get rid of that, along with our acerola, vitamin C that helps move that stored iron. But let's talk about two things that are game changing for me personally. Now, these are not supplements that I take all of the time. I go off and on them as my body needs. Oops, I have, oh, what have we got? Hold on, I've got something. Oh my goodness. Okay. I do not. Oh, there. Okay, I've got to wrap this up really quick. I've got an appointment to go to. And that was my alarm, but I forgot to move it forward so I could pop it up. Um, Two things.
There's no alarm ringing here.
Now it's talking back to me. Tudka, which is an acid, UDCA acid, great big long name, with taurine added. Tudka. This will help to thin your bile and improve the flow. I love this stuff, but if you're prone to gallstones, this can aggravate them. So it's not for everybody because it will move that flow, meaning if you've got a gallstone lodged, it's going to move that and make it more active. Okay, so it's not for everybody. This is a game changer for me. And I usually look at it 4 times a year. My brain, because of the business, I think of it in quarters. And so each quarter, I'm doing a quick evaluation of when I'm going to add some TEDCA. And I usually take it for 3 to 5 weeks just to make sure that I'm keeping that flow where it needs to be. TEDCA can also move your bowels. So the first couple times that you take it, it can create some urgency. You need to play with the dosage. I have, and I bet Shelly's already, Shelly's already thrown it up. The TEDCA that I like, Shelly has linked to a link so that you can see the one that I have enjoyed using. And play with the dosage. Play with how much works for you. I don't take the full dosage of what this TEDCA says on the back. It's too much for me. I take half of the dose. And so it's one that you have to build a relationship with. Another one, and I'm out of this one, and so I don't have it to show you, is bitters. We have lost in the United States, we have lost the cultural norm of eating bitters with our foods, bitter herbs. And bitters, Swedish bitters or other types of bitters, are important when it comes to thinning our bile out. And some people do better on Swedish bitters than they do on TEDCA. Now, remember, this is an acid, UDCA, and then it has taurine attached to it. Taurine also helps you hold magnesium in your cell. Boom. So it's doing a couple things. You've got to play with your dosage to make sure it's a good fit for you. And remember, this can aggravate gallstones. Swedish bitters or any other type of bitters, you can make those yourself or you can purchase them, are another way to thin your bile. Swedish bitters are also something you don't stay on all the time because vagal nerve tone for nervous system regulation. You and I have talked about nervous system regulation and the role that magnesium plays in nervous system regulation. And if you're taking Swedish bitters all of the time, it's stressing out your vagal nerve tone, which means it gets stretched too thin and then boom, you pop and explode emotionally. I don't want that happening. And so bitters are something like TEDCA that you use and then back off, and then use and then back off. Now, bitters are powerful, and they get the back right here. They get that juice going back here, which is good. We need that. It's not the best tasting thing. And so when life is really busy, but I'm needing to make sure that I'm thinning out that bile, I'm using TEDCA. It's a pill. It's easier to take if appropriate for you. I'm not a doctor. I'm not diagnosing. I am not telling you what to do. Swedish bitters, you will feel typically, I see clients experiencing it quicker when they're taking Swedish bitters. Sometimes people have a hard time following through on it because of the taste. And so it's truly about matching what works for you. But remember, our end goal is the same. Thin bile. When you've got thin bile, you have better brain function. You have less ADHD. You have, oh, here's one that I made the connection with that I hadn't made the connection before. Thick bile is increased negative self-talk. Mind blown. Today was not meant to overwhelm and say, oh, now you've got to do this, now you've got to do this. It was meant to help you tap into, remember, put pieces together of what your body might need, what you might need to look into, because you are the CEO of your health, to keep your bile thin. Thin bile is better brain function. Thin bile is better gut function. Thin bile is more energy. Thin bile is easier parasite balance. We all have parasites. It's not a matter of completely getting rid of them. It's a matter of balancing them. And so that thin bile is foundational for good health. Tudka, ox bile, beets, good choline in eggs, grapefruit. These are all foods that can help us. Milk thistle, oh, one of my favorites for bile function and liver health. Good bile is critical if you've been diagnosed with non-fatty liver disease. If you've got non-fatty liver disease, you've got the bile. And so making sure that your bile is a higher quality of bile, it's going to backwards engineer and support liver health. And anything we do to increase liver health increases health overall. Oh, it was delightful being with you today. Let me know in the comments below, what's your takeaway? What is that powerful insight that you received being here with me today? Whether it's a piece, a connection piece that you already knew that came to your mind, whether maybe it was something that you learned, tell me what your action is. And maybe your action today is saying, I'm just putting this in my tool belt. I don't need to take action on it. Maybe right now you're overwhelmed and in the thick of focusing on something else. This was not intended to increase our overwhelm. Healthy women take action. We are now officially the most educated, sickest society that's ever walked the earth. Walk away from it. Take action. And maybe your action item today is just filing this in your tool belt for you to come back to at a later time. Healthy women take action. Healthy women change the world. We need healthier women changing the world. Join me. My goal, ending magnesium deficiency by 2030. Simple, but bold. And we're doing it together, you and I, as we share, as we connect, and as we lift and remind each other that it takes creativity to create the space and time for optimal health. It was so good being with you today. Bye-bye. Oh, there we go. I'm on a different computer screen, so I was in a totally different place. See ya. Oh, Amber, it is so helpful. Helps brain function. Oh, Lisa, testing can show if you have oh my gosh, if you've got that. Yeah, blood work can show that. But remember, blood work's not perfect. Oh my gosh, that's a whole nother life. I've got to hop off so I make it to my next appointment. That's a whole nother life. Tell me, would you be interested in talking about blood work and different things we can learn? Let me know. Because truly, I want to play a role in what helps you. Bye.